Hey everybody, welcome back to One Hard Thing. I'm Dylan.
And I'm Carolyn. Today, our video is going to talk a little bit about an article by James Clear. He calls it Goal Setting, a Scientific Guide to Setting and Achieving Goals.
One thing I really like that he starts right off the bat by saying goal setting is everywhere. And I've certainly noticed that, getting online, there are so many videos about setting goals and how to push yourself and how to achieve things. And that's great. That's helpful um, to have that direction, but he takes it a little bit further.
Yeah, so he's inviting us to really think about kind of the science behind goal setting. So it's really great to say, hey, think about that next milestone, think about what you want to do next. But sometimes we get caught up in the not knowing how to actually implement a goal to be successful. So like the thought of, oh, I want to do this next is great. But he says that goal setting is the act of selecting a target or objective you wish to achieve, which is a great, right, like a great definition. But he says that there's probably a little bit more useful way to think about setting goals. Um, so he says, like, start with an exercise of what does success look like to you? And in really specific terms, what do you want to achieve?
Yeah. And that's going to give you that direction. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later in the video. But what you want to achieve, that's just imagining, that's setting up your vision board, some of those things that we've discussed. But he follows it up with a really, really powerful question. This one hit me at least. He says, rather than considering what kind of success we want, we should ask, what kind of pain do I want? And that one's really, really a unique way of looking at it. And I think it fits a lot of what we talked about, Carolyn, in some of our other videos about, leaning into that resistance or leaning into our discomfort, finding that place where it's hard, it's one hard thing a day and really pushing there because that's where we're actually going to see the growth. And so that question is, what kind of pain do I want? Helps us know how hard we're really to push to meet that goal.
Yeah, how hard or the timing of our life. So I really, really love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, in the last 10 years, I've gone back to school and completed a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, and I'm almost done with a doctorate. And what's really interesting is I have a lot of friends who are like, oh yeah, I've wanted to go back to school. I just haven't done it. Oh, right.
Yeah.
They feel a little bit of a guilt. But when you, I love for whatever reason pulling back goal setting and applying it to physical fitness. For me, that's like a really easy way to conceptualize.
Mhm.
Like I have friends that just do, like they go walk every day to move their bodies. I have friends that do like heavy CrossFit type workouts, and their whole goal is to build muscle mass, right? And it burns, and they put a lot of work and effort, and they're really, really consistent. I have friends that are constantly training for a marathon. Right now
Yeah.
in my life, if I were to choose which type of physical workout to do, I can guarantee you I have no desire to choose running a marathon. Like training for a marathon, like that is pain that I do not want at all. That does not
Yeah.
inspire me. That does not motivate me. Um, and so when I'm looking at, well, what ways do I want to engage my body in physical activity?
Hmm.
I can check running a marathon off my list right now, right? There, I have run a half
Yeah.
marathon, so like I know I can do it. Don't love it. And so as you're thinking about goals, right? He quotes Mark Manson, and Mark says, like, who wouldn't want to write a best-selling goal or best-selling
Mhm.
book or lose weight or earn money? He's like, we all have goals that we want to achieve. And that's not the challenge. The challenge isn't like coming up with some really cool dream. It's
Yeah.
figuring out what level of sacrifice or yet what pain am I willing to go through to meet that
Hmm.
goal. So like for me, doing school, I'm like, it has required an immense amount of sacrifice. It's been very, very painful. And so when I tell my friends, I'm like, don't beat yourself up. You may not be at that place where you want to choose that level of pain and discomfort. For me,
Yeah.
it was worth it. Right. But like some of those friends that have been like, I haven't gone to school, literally are training for a marathon right now. And I'm like, I'm not willing to make that choice. That is not a pain that I'm willing to take on. And so I love tying it back to this is a really great goal. And this sounds really fun and exciting, but what pain am I really willing to put into this?
Yeah. And I think when we ask that, it helps eliminate some of those goals that sound really nice or sound really cool, or like, man, that would be impressive, but is not anything that we're willing to push for. You know, you
Mhm.
use the example, everyone wants a gold medal, but no one's willing to train like an Olympian.
Yep, yep. Um, and what I love is like that's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay to say, my goal is to, like, I have a friend, her goal is to read, I think, I don't know, like 20 books a month, right? Which again requires effort, but she's like, oh, I'm just so excited. Like, I'm going to have to force myself to grab a blanket and snuggle up on my couch in front of the fireplace and do something that I love. And reading that book, obviously, it's going to enlighten her mind, right? Like maybe she has more conversation to share with people, but it doesn't make a huge difference, right? It's not an Olympic gold medal. It's not a
Yeah.
billion-dollar business. It's not a school degree, right? It's just something, but she's excited about it. And to her, like, this is the pain that I want to go into. Like she's excited about the discomfort. Just like sometimes when we're lifting weights, like, oh yeah, like there's the burn, there's where that strength comes. But our weight workout is 20 minutes and we're done for the day. We're not spending an hour every single day intensively
Yeah.
weightlifting anyway. So I love that, it's okay to say, I don't want to do the work to become an Olympic gold medalist. That would be cool.
Mhm.
I don't want to do that.
Well, and I think that's where I really like the concepts of one hard thing a day. Is sometimes that one hard thing is really simple. There are times in your life where it's, I'm going to shower every day this week. I'm going to brush my teeth and my hair and like go outside. And yeah, it's not an Olympic gold medal, but it's where that resistance is at that period of your life with what's going on, and is going to push you in the direction that you want to go long term.
Yeah. Well, I love like that kind of going in the direction you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, James um makes an analogy of like setting a goal should be like should serve the same purpose as the rudder and the oars on a boat. So he says, like, if you're a small boat, your goals are like the rudder of the boat. Okay, so when we choose what thing we're going to focus on, we want it to set the direction and determine where we're going to go.
Yeah.
So if we commit to one goal that we're like, intently focused on, um, then the rudder stays, right. We're not moving the rudder all over the place. We're just pretty much just plugging along and it's moving us forward. If we go back and forth between goals, then the rudder's moving, and his caution is that if we are bouncing around goals too often, then sometimes we just end up going in circles, right? We don't actually make a lot of progress. We're moving a lot and putting in a lot of effort, but we're not actually getting anywhere different, which again, to me, like he's saying, avoid that. To me, sometimes I think there's times and seasons where we just need to have that practice of
Mm-hmm.
doing, even if we aren't going anywhere. But for those of you that are
I think
wanting to, accomplish something a little bit larger, like focusing on a goal that propels you in a direction. Like, so for me, when I was really depressed, like taking a shower every day, again, it's so silly to me that took so much effort. Like, I so strongly remember how much effort that took, but that has still, like, my rudder has been in the same position since that day, right? And like now my one hard thing a day is writing the dissertation. So like taking a shower, brushing my teeth versus writing a dissertation are really hard, but my rudder has been set the same direction and I have gone, you know, in a straight path forward. Um,
yeah.
so like make sure those goals, right? You can choose a whole genre of goals that are all pushing you in the same direction, even if the effort or the time or the energy it
Mhm.
requires is different.
I like that word genre. I think that's a good way to conceptualize it. I've definitely found patterns in myself of flip-flopping between goals and spending a lot of time and a lot of energy on really good things, but I'm constantly jumping around, not
Yeah.
stay focused on anything.
Why do you
And
think that is?
so
What do you think gets in the way of you staying focused on that? Is it that like when the goal gets hard and it's easy to quit, or it's just you have too many things that excite you?
I think it's more the second one a lot of the time is I just get excited about something and kind of chase that. I'd probably say, concepts we talked about in the past, like determination and motivation. I chase the motivation and forget to stick through the determination. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of it's like chasing the shiny object. I chase the shiny goal around in a circle. But I think this really clarifies that and just saying, setting that clear goal, and sometimes the sometimes the process will change, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but the rudder stays constant.
Yeah.
And that's where you really start to see that progress.
Well, but
Um,
but here's the thing, I would think for you, like it, I guess deciding the direction of your rudder. Like
yeah.
if you want to say, you know what, I'm okay with where life is at, but I want to keep, I want to chase the shiny object. I think as long as
Mhm.
you're intentionally saying, I'm going to be paddling in circles for a little while, right? I just want to
Yeah.
like dabble a little bit here and dabble a little bit there and kind of get exposure and experience to different things that feel fun. Like that might be your purpose, your direction, right? Like if you're
Mhm.
fishing, sometimes you do just paddle in a little bit of a circle so you can see like, okay, are the fish here, here, and here? You're not necessarily trying to paddle 10 miles downstream. And so I think, yeah, like being very intentional with
Mhm.
your direction. And it's okay if it's in circles as long as you're recognizing like this is what I'm choosing right now.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's even, pointing your rudder at an angle so you turn is part of that exploratory process. I think where I found problems in my process, and I'm sure other people can relate to this as well, is my rudder isn't constant. I'm
Okay.
constantly turning it, changing directions, changing ideas. And it's kind of within 4 or 5 similar goals that I'm kind of bouncing between, but I don't finish one before I stop. And so I'm not getting that kind of that that hit of chemicals for completing a goal.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say it sounds like
And so it burns
your
me out.
goal genre has a specific destination. And instead of getting
Yeah.
to that destination, you're spinning in
Yes.
circles and maybe
Exactly.
going a little bit forward and then spinning in circles and a little bit forward and spinning in circles instead of just moving straight towards your destination.
Yeah. Instead of choosing the pain I want and just sticking with that pain long enough to finish the goal. That's what
Gotcha.
I do.
Okay, interesting. Okay. Okay, so the rudder sets that direction.
Mhm.
The oars are the process for achieving it. Okay, so examples he gives. If you coach a sports team, then your goal is to win a championship. Okay, so the goal is winning a championship. And again, a goal can be great, right? Oh, I'm going to be an Olympic athlete. But if we don't
Mhm.
have something to kind of back it up and create some structure around it, or have a system in place, then we're not going to get anywhere. So a coach has to say, our goal is to win a championship. And what are the things that I do to work backwards to help get there? And so the system is what the team does in practice every single day, right? And when you're on a sports team, you have a set of drills that you run through. The drills don't look the same every single day, right? Or sometimes practice is once a day, sometimes you have 2 a days, right? Sometimes you just have
Mhm.
practice once a week. So depending on the team and the time of the season and where things are at, the frequency of practice and the exercises or activities you do in practice change, right? But a coach typically has a pretty clear idea of what are the goals, or like what are the actual steps and action steps we need to take in order to have the best chance of winning a championship.
Yeah. Yeah. That the udders are the system, the process, how we are going to
The
achieve
oars
that.
and the
Oh,
udders
sorry.
to milk a cow.
The oars. The oars are the direction or the process that we go that push us in the direction. So the rudder sets the direction. Yeah, mixing words in my mind. And the oars are that process of rowing our boat in that direction that we're already pointing. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's that daily practice that touching on that goal consistently, whether it's daily or weekly or monthly, depending on what it is. but having that consistency of, I'm going to row, and I know what I'm doing next. You put the oars in the water, you pull back, you pull them out, you
Yeah.
reset, and
Yeah.
process. You just repeat that process, and that's what moves you in the direction that you
Well,
that.
and on a small boat, if you don't have the oars, the rudder doesn't serve much purpose,
Yeah.
right? If you sit in a small boat and you just wiggle your rudder back and forth, not much is going to happen. So you really do have to have both, right? If you
Mhm.
just have oars, it is possible to like you can get in a boat and you can just row, right? And you actually can change the direction you're going. It's just a whole lot harder without the rudder. And so I love how it says like it's not like we're not like canoeing, right? Where it's just like
Mhm.
use your brute strength and like, go side to side to change that direction. It's like choose a boat that has an oar and a rudder.
Mhm.
So what purpose, Dylan, would you say one hard thing a day plays? Like, do you feel like one hard thing a day is an udder or an udder? See, now I'm calling it an udder, a rudder or the oar.
um, well, I think it's neither. I think one hard, like, certainly we talk about those things. Certainly we are um educating you guys about those things, but really one hard thing is more aptly maybe the boat, or probably even better, the life jacket. It's the support that keeps us going if our boat tips, and we're slipping in our goal, or we're starting to lose that direction. One hard thing a day kind of helps us refocus. I think it's the equipment that we bring on the boat to help us achieve our goal.
Yeah, I would agree. Um, just even as we've been talking, like James Clear says, like your rudder, like set the direction forward, right? And already we've kind of contradicted that, thinking like maybe it's okay to put your rudder at an angle and just plan on doing a circle. And I think
Yeah.
that's important. Is yes,
Mhm.
like set your goal with intention. Use a boat that has a rudder and oars, right? Like
Mhm.
combine those so that accomplishing your goals is more simple. But your goal doesn't have to be, I mean, the examples he gives, be a coach, be a writer, be a runner, be an entrepreneur, be an Olympic gold medal. You may not want that for your goal.
Mhm.
And so one hard thing a day, our purpose isn't to tell you this is how you have to have your goal. This is how you
Mhm.
have to choose it. It's choose a goal, right?
Yeah.
Recognize, like, I mean, I love how you said, like, oh yeah, like I have chased the motivation, like recognize that accomplishing a goal doesn't rely just on motivation.
Mhm.
And that we serve as that reminder to like keep going, keep fine
Yeah.
tuning, keep pushing forward. You can do this. You've got this. And yeah, we just kind of give a little bit of support, a little bit of safety to accomplish your goals, how, when, where, and why you want. And recognizing that there are, kind of different ways to approach it or different ways to view it. And as long as you're going into that little bit of resistance and you're pushing
Mhm.
yourself, then you're going to have so much satisfaction in your life.
Yeah. No, I think that's the whole point of what we're doing here, is just giving those small reminders, so that as we set these goals, as we point our rudder, as we're moving those oars in the water, that we know that we have all the tools that we need in order to keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we all we need is the boat with the rudder and the oars. But one hard thing, we get to put a life jacket on. Maybe we have a compass that lets us know if we're getting off track or things like that, and we just equip ourselves to make that journey maybe not easier, as far as the pain that we're going through, but easier in some of these processes that we have to go through.
hmm Well, I just took my kids to go see the movie Boys in the Boat. And it's about, um, yeah, like a rowing team, right? And it's really interesting that they have all these people whose purpose is to row in the boat.
Mm,
On the boat, they have someone with like a megaphone essentially who is like encouraging them to set a pace, like directing like keeping them all in sync and like pushing them and pushing them, like, all right, guys, like here's where we push it hard. And then they had their coaches on the sideline also with the megaphone, like
Yeah.
do it again, like try it this way. Come on, guys. Like one hard thing a day can also kind of be that, right? It could be that
Mhm.
person in the boat saying, like, come on, keep going, do it, put your oar in, pull hard, pull now, pull harder. Yeah, so that you actually start to follow through
Yeah.
and see the changes you want.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
and I've seen a lot of positive change in myself as we've done one hard thing a day, as I've kind of given myself these daily reminders. And we've certainly gotten comments from other people who are following along with it. It is helping. So, if you want to start moving forward in your goals, but you need a little bit of extra support or maybe some guidance, please follow us, subscribe and comment down below what you're working on. We try to pay attention to the comments and answer questions or things like that. Um, but yeah, I hope this was helpful to you in kind of conceptualizing a different way of looking at goals, and also very specifically the processes that you need to go through to lean into that pain that you want and set a goal accordingly to that pain.